Skydance bought Paramount CBS despite every attempt by CBS News and 60 Minutes to screw the deal. Now, just as we said would happen, Bari Weiss has been put in charge of the so-called journalists who lost a lawsuit to the Orange Man and cost CBS a whole bunch of money. Were lessons learned? No, of course not. Now, former CBS News anchor Dan Rather is slamming Weiss, claiming dark days are ahead. It's just too bad we're bringing the stark reality to deceiving Dan in this video up ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Happy Monday. I know we're not supposed to celebrate Mondays, but it's a happy Monday, right? Right? There's been great news over the weekend, and well, I'm still waiting for the celebrities to start, well, celebrating. Are you? Are you waiting for that? I don't think they're going to celebrate. I don't think that this cause that they believed in apparently meant anything to them at all. Just a cudgel, maybe. A cudgel. Well, folks, we could use your cudgel. And your cudgel is that mouse or your index finger, whatever, not the other finger. Click the like button, folks, and let's dive in right now. Out of thatparkplace.com. Dan Rather calls Bari Weiss' appointment over CBS News a dark day as some compare it to Elon transforming Twitter. Now, we're going to get to this article in just a second. Okay, this is Bari Weiss, and Bari Weiss is a very nice person who really believes in finding the truth and getting to the news. But I want you to see that these people have lost their minds, or have they? Or have they? I would tell you, maybe it's that they understood the entire time, this is not about truth. This is not about actual assessments of persons and personalities. It's about power. It was always about power. Look at this out of USA Today. Ingrid Jacques has this. And we're going to have to say a thank you to Ingrid because the vast majority of articles out there are just slamming Bari Weiss in the legacy going extinct dinosaur media. And that's no surprise to us. But here on USA Today, it says, Bari Weiss took on the tribalist liberal media, and she's winning big time. Now, I would call it the leftist media because I like classical liberals a lot. It says on paper, Bari Weiss, 41, should be someone beloved by the left. She checks a lot of boxes after all. She's a woman. She's a lesbian. She's pro-choice. She's politically centrist. She's not MAGA. And she's a rock star in the media world. Weiss was recently named editor-in-chief of CBS News, and the publication she founded, the Free Press, was purchased by CBS parent company Paramount for a deal valued at $150 million, according to Axios. So why is her success causing a historical meltdown among progressives? Weiss isn't liberal enough for their taste and doesn't buy into the groupthink that dominates most newsrooms these days. Sounds very illiberal to me. It did to her too. Now, that means, ladies and gentlemen, that what we are looking at here, the CBS News journalists who are part of the larger Journalist Inc., they all thought that they could sink the deal between Paramount and CBS and stay afloat, and then they would continue to gloat and pass around all kinds of fake news for years and years to come. And this was the bulwark. This was the line in the sand. They had to stop. They had to stop Skydance from buying CBS because if Bari Weiss was put in charge, and we told you before this was ever public that we were hearing that Bari Weiss was going to be the one that they went to. If this happened, it breaks, you know, when you play Red Rover, and everybody's elbows and arms are linked together, this was going to break the link in the chain. Now, you all know, if you're swinging at the park, if you've got a kid, you know, don't do a kid because this is going to get a little violent in a minute. Don't do that. Don't do that. You get in the swing. You take the hit. If you're in the swing and the chain breaks, where do you go? You go down, baby. And the journalists knew that if the network news, if a single one of them went back to reporting the news accurately, they were in trouble. And what's happened? Well, they doubled down as hard as they could. They tried to get the FCC involved. They got lawsuits against them. They did everything they could to make this untenable to get this deal done where Skydance would buy CBS. And guess what? They're going to be gone. And you know they're going to be gone. And now it's time to screech and cry and holler and all that stuff because Bari Weiss is there. But I wanted you to see out of USA Today, right off the bat, This is not a lady who is conservative. She's not. She's the J.K. Rowling of the news, right? She agrees with him on like 90%, but 10% is not allowed. You can't deviate from the orthodoxy, darn it. And so Bari Weiss is coming in as someone who is maybe centrist, maybe moderately to the left. So I'm not here telling you, listen, you didn't come to the Pro Channel and Pro tell you, we got to get a conservative in the CBS News. I'm not here doing that, folks. I mean, I'm telling you, this woman is not to the right. She's at best centrist if you're looking for that sort of thing. But that's not all right with the journalist because she has broken the chain. And what's going to happen to ABC and NBC if suddenly there's another network news channel that's reporting actual news like she wants to do, right? She doesn't want to be Fox News. She just wants to try to tell the truth. Darn her, she can't do that. Well, okay, let's talk about Dan Rather. It says in October 2025, the media landscape was shaken when Paramount Skydance announced that it had acquired Bari Weiss's media company, the Free Press, and appointed Weiss as editor-in-chief of CBS News, a newly created position meant to redefine the network's editorial direction. The move immediately generated intense discussion across the industry. For some, Weiss's promotion represented an overdue disruption to a stale corporate news culture. For others, it was an alarming step towards politicizing one of America's most storied journalistic institutions. Among the critics was legendary CBS anchor Dan Rather. We'll get into why he's legendary in just a minute. Who called the appointment a dark day for the network, warning that CBS was trading its hard-earned reputation for independence for ideological experimentation. It goes on to say that Dan Rather was critiqued online following his pronouncement is an understatement. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the archives here and find out what it was Dan Rather was saying. Broadcast 43 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dan Rather.
Concern about rising temperatures on planet Earth heated up a hearing here in Washington today. For years, scientists have theorized about the dangers of the so-called greenhouse effect, the warming of the Earth's atmosphere due to the burning of coal and oil. And in recent months, as David Culhane reports, research has uncovered facts to support that theory.
Many scientists claim that the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere has been rising over the past 100 years, that the great sheets of pack ice in Antarctica are melting at a much more rapid rate than previously. And finally, that the sea level has been rising with increasing swiftness over the past 40 years. If these scientists are correct, about 25% of Florida would be flooded, along with low-lying areas all over the world. Climate changes could produce widespread disruption of agriculture. The American farm belt might be too dry, and the wheat and corn crops would have to move to Canada. Scientists blame the odorless, colorless carbon dioxide gas for these potentially dangerous changes around the planet. It is the greenhouse effect. The gas allows sunlight to filter down and warm the Earth. But like the glass of a greenhouse, the carbon dioxide tends to trap heat so that it cannot rise into space. The scientists maintain that the coal, oil, and gas we've been burning for 100 years have produced more and more carbon dioxide and helped overheat the Earth. Now, some political leaders endorse the demands for more CO2 monitoring stations, like this one in Hawaii. And they share the anger of the scientists at Reagan administration budget cuts at a time when they feel closer to getting definitive answers.
We are not doing the kind of research that we should be doing to determine whether or not these scientists who are so alarmed are correct in their assessment.
And what they find out will affect the lives and fortunes of millions of people, the very survival of cities like this one. David Culhane, CBS News, New York.
So there you go, folks. There you go. Florida should be completely underwater at this point, right? Florida should be completely underwater. New York, you guys ought to be in submarines, right? Going through Times Square in submarines. Sorry, Staten Island. You're down in the corals. You're down in the reefs. So there you go, folks. There's what CBS News was up to in the 80s. Now, we are more than 40 years removed from that report, and I'm not here to tell you, you shouldn't be worried about the environment. I love the environment. I want you to be clean and not pollute. I want you to be good to all the wildlife. Keep things looking great. We hate air pollution. We hate water pollution, all that kind of stuff, right? Hate it, hate it, hate it. We want great environments, but we also want realistic outcomes and honest journalism. And that was something. Bari Weiss, a former New York Times columnist who left that paper in 2020 after decrying what she described as a culture of illiberalism, has since built the Free Press into a profitable digital brand focused on commentary and independent journalism. She would traditionally fit exactly what the left would want in a newsroom editor. She's smart, a woman, married to a woman, and she's socially liberal. Her critics, however, argue that she often serves as a figurehead for anti-establishment and center-right viewpoints that accuse mainstream media of suppressing dissenting opinions. What? The legacy going extinct dinosaur media doesn't like differing opinions? What? That's right, folks. They dislike different opinions as much as Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau dislike being clothed when they're up standing on top of their boat, where I'm sure they knew people were going to take photos. Do you think they thought people would take photos when they stood on a boat, making out, standing on a boat? You think they thought? I think they thought that. I think that was a photo op. What do you think? Do you think standing on a boat is usually? Oh, it's almost as if it's all contrived. Dan Rather questions Bari Weiss's credentials for CBS role, says hiring is dark for network. I'm going to bring this to you from the New York Post. It's originally Fox News hosted over here. I want to bring this to you, though, because I want to give you the context of what Dan Rather is saying. Former CBS News anchor Dan Rather criticized CBS News on Thursday for making journalist Bari Weiss its editor-in-chief, as well as acquiring her independent news outlet, The Free Press. Rather, who is aged 93, argued on his Substack page that the hiring of the anti-woke reporter, as well as CBS coming under the control of billionaire David Ellison, whose father is a friend of President Donald Trump, meant that CBS News will be catering to the Trump agenda. The American people will pay the price for this move, as will the journalists of CBS News, who can no longer credibly serve as watchdogs because the ones they are meant to hold to account are signing their paychecks and hobnobbing with the president. So in other words, what they're trying to claim now is CBS, where they made their nest, right? CBS, they're now telling you that they're not credible anymore. Don't watch them. They're not credible anymore. And which, by the way, gives away that the journalists who are working at CBS News are going to go somewhere else, right? Because they would never say that about their friends. Now, quick reminder, yet again, if the idea that Florida was going to be underwater and New York was done for, it was the new Atlantis, if that wasn't enough for you, Glenn Diagram and Hans Machny have this. Menschke, I'm not sure. Says there's a pretty strong case that Dan Rather invented modern fake news when he pulled his fake document scam on George W. in 2004, and yet here he is 21 years later telling us Bari Weiss doesn't have the credentials to run CBS News. And Glenn Diagram says Dan Rather has never once thought he did anything wrong, which makes him the perfect poster child for the whole thing. Now, for those of you who are too young to know this, Dan Rather got caught and got kicked out of CBS, which is hard to do. But he got kicked out of CBS because there was a fake Vietnam-era Word document that was quickly found out to be fake, and that was all part of the fake news apparatus. Did it start fake news? No, it did not. Was it a big mistake by Fake News Inc.? You better believe it. CBS parent company Paramount named Weiss the editor-in-chief of CBS News on Monday following the company's acquisition of the Free Press for $150 million. Rather questioned Weiss's credentials. Quote, the former opinion writer for the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times is not a reporter. Clearly, I mean, she's never reported that Florida is going to be completely underwater. And think of poor New Orleans. Oh, the people there. It's going to make, well, I won't say that. That's a joke I won't go to. She has never worked in television news, and she has never led a staff larger than a few dozen. That all changed this week with David Ellison, whose Skydance Media recently acquired CBS, installed Weiss in a position created for her. She will not report to the president of CBS News, as one might expect, but to David Ellison directly. And folks, do you know why that is? Why would she not report to the president of CBS News? Let's all, this is as obvious as why Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau would stand in bathing attire on top of a boat. Hint, hint, wink, wink. It's so they'll get photos made of it. The reason is because I believe that the president of CBS News might not have long at the company, might be on the way out. Maybe there's a lack of trust here. You think in this newly acquired company that's been promulgating and propagating all kind of false stuff, maybe the Ellisons who just bought it and said, your team down there tried to destroy the merger. We've got multi-billion-dollar merger here, and your little outfit of journalists tried to sink the whole thing. Maybe we don't trust you, And you could say, well, Pro, then why is the person still there? Well, I don't know, contractually. I don't know. Then maybe that's not the case. But if I'm just guessing, I'm putting that 9-1 odds, that there's something odd in the relationship between the CBS News president and the Ellisons. And the Ellisons are trying to fix this news situation with Bari Weiss, who will report directly to them rather than to the president of CBS. And thank goodness, rather to them than to Dan Rather, who has rather a difficult time with the truth and always has for decades, and yet is out there at 93 years old. You got to give it to the man. You got to give it to him. He's still working on salvaging that legacy. Go, Dan Rather, go, right? Makes Brian Williams look bad. All right. Folks, that's going to be the video for today. They are freaking out. They're losing their minds over Bari Weiss. And remember, this is not just about news organizations. This is about entertainment companies. Paramount CBS, they're an entertainment company. Skydance is an entertainment company. This is a news organization nested within it. Disney has the same kind of apparatus with ABC, right? ABC News, nested inside a broader, larger entertainment company. What are we paying attention to? We're paying attention to the unstoppable now, I believe, winds of change that are taking over. And we should be joyous about it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a victory, I believe. And, speaking of victories, I'm still waiting. Have you all checked yet? Have the celebrities started celebrating yet that there's no more of the stuff that's been going on in the Middle East? At least we hope there's not going to be more of it. Peace. There's peace. I'm still hearing there's peace. No celebrities. Where is Ariana Grande? Where are you, Ariana? Where's Rachel Zegler? Oh, man. Well, hopefully, folks, with Bari Weiss in charge, those celebrities might one day tune into CBS News and find out that they should be celebrating. No, because they're not actually reading the news. All right, folks, it's your turn. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, until the next time, we have the honor, the privilege, what'd I say? The honor, the privilege, the responsibility, speak English, Pro, to spend time with you. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
What are you doing?
Well, you see, I wanted to get some inside scoops on Disney and their different corporations, if you know what I mean. So I figured by looking into this fistbowl and sucking it randomly with my own energy that I pay for, you paid for, I could do the whole experience where you can be a master and spy on your targets.
You're an idiot. If you want to get the inside scoop on Disney, or even other media organizations, you should check out thatparkplace.com and subscribe to WDW Pro's YouTube channel. That'd be way easier, more accurate, and, less dumb.
Are you saying I won't get accurate information this way?
No, you can't.
Who'd have think?